tell us more about the budget component and the relationship with Parliament, please?
Well, there has been a lot of research, particularly around deliberative institutions and the role that they play in development. And Parliament as a deliberative institution, it's become a lot clearer that there is a key stakeholder in governance systems and promoting development. There's actually some recent research which links in the strong parliaments well, a correlation between strong parliaments and a good economic performance. Furthermore, if you, some of the research that we've been doing shows that strong accountability tools within parliaments actually leads to reduced corruption. So when you take all these into account, what it really says is that parliaments matter. When you think about parliaments, one of the most important tools available, not just to the government or the country, but to Parliament in helping to set the development agenda, is actually the national budget. And Parliament is a constitutionally, has a constitutional role to play in enacting the budget in the first place, and then ensuring oversight over budget's implementation to ensure that those development objectives are actually achieved. This parliamentary benchmarks and indicators has been an ongoing global process. It has been about, I think a bit over almost 10 years now, actually. And it's been a very interesting process because it's a partnership, a global partnership between parliamentary associations, professional associations such as the IPU and the Association of Francophone Parliamentarians, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, etc., international development institutions and partners, and also the donor community, in order to be able to try and identify and develop a consensus around what good performance actually means. It's never been designed to be too prescriptive, but rather to act as a tool whereby parliaments and development practitioners are able to reflect on how they are performing and then identify the ways in which they're going to be able to try and improve their performance to be able to achieve their functions. So there are a number of different tool sets out there, focusing either on benchmarks or self-applied guidance on how to assess where your strengths or weaknesses might be as a parliament. And they're applied by different organisations. But there is an edited volume which will be published in the summer of 2015, which is a compendium that brings together and summarises all of these different models that are out there. And the hope is that it will be a kind of a capstone on the debate that has come so far, and then act as an impetus for all those organisations and parliaments to be able to think about how to be able to move the consensus building process forward. So it's a very exciting time for benchmarks and indicators. I think this is a critical part. Often the budget process is seen as quite a sterile or technical process, which is very unfortunate because ultimately the whole point of a well-functioning and well-calibrated budgeting system is that there's going to be some kind of benefit to citizens. In order to be able to identify what that benefit should be and what priorities there should be, then it's essential that budgeting processes are able to engage citizens from the formulation stage right through to the implementation stage and the audit stage. Parliaments as a key deliberative body and also as a representative body have a role to play in ensuring that there is citizen engagement in the budgeting process. And that can come in many different forms. And it is also, you can either be from Parliament going to citizens or ensuring Parliament is more transparent and builds within its processes and procedures the ability for citizens to engage Parliament when it's considering the budget or overseeing the budget implementation. Some prime examples here would be parliaments or parliamentary committees during the formulation stage, going out and speaking to communities to be able to get surfacing what their priorities might be so that the Parliament is able to give input into budget priorities when the Ministry is developing it. Alternatively, when the budget documents were to be tabled in Parliament, Parliament is able to announce when there are going to be committee hearings into the priorities or the contents or estimates in the documents, ensuring that there is enough advertising, word gets out, and that citizens and community groups are able to actually make submissions to the committee so that they get that feedback when they're doing the deliberations. And then ultimately, if there's going to be committee hearings, then opening those committee hearings up to the media so that the media is able to report on the deliberations, and then communities then hear what Parliament is talking about and the different, the hard choices that they're needing to make about the recommendations around the budget. And then during the ex post stage, there's a huge potential for citizen groups to be able to help monitor and track implementation of the budget and feed that information through, not just to the oversight committees overseeing the line ministries, but also to be able to work quite closely with the Supreme Audit institutions to do community audits, which in turn would help fuel the content that goes into robust audit reports that either the Public Accounts Committees or the Finance Commissions and the Napoleonic systems can use to oversee and hold the government to account for implementing the budget's priorities.